I hope everyone's having a great day. This video is basically just a presentation that I put together for the Missouri Western men's and women's golf teams, talking about motivation, perception, visualization, goal setting, all of that good stuff. Chances are, if you're here watching it, you probably were at the meeting and this is just a refresher, or maybe you stumbled upon it a different way. But if you are new, my name is Natalie Bird and I am a professor and an alumni and also golf alumni of Missouri Western, and so I got together with them and shared some information and recorded the entire lecture so that way I could share it with you. So without further ado, we will go ahead and cut over to the presentation. I apologize if the volume isn't great on it. I did the best that I could, but the camera was really far away from where I was standing. But anyway, I hope you enjoy. Thanks. No problem. Okay. I think we've gotten past all the introductions by now, but first thing I want to tell you guys, like I was telling you earlier, all of this information that I'm telling you can be applied completely differently. So the way that you apply it to your golf game and to your life will probably be different than the way that I apply it to my golf game or the way that the people sitting next to you apply it to their golf game. This is all basically open for your interpretation, okay? Now, another thing, I am recording this. I'm going to put it on my YouTube channel so you guys can have access to it and watch it whenever you want. But before we get started, does anyone have any questions or anything specific they want me to talk about? Anything? Okay. Okay. First thing is, you guys have all probably heard the quote, "The grass is green where you water it." A lot of coaches say it. A lot of motivational speakers say it. Basically, all it's saying is that where you put your effort and your work is where your results will show. However, I don't know if I completely believe in this or agree with it, because I think you have to plant it first. So what I'm saying is, yes, it is green where you water it, but if you don't plant any seeds, how are you supposed to reap any benefit? So essentially, if you are planting seeds and starting good habits now, they will not only affect you in your golf game in college, but it'll affect your golf game later on and even your life later on. So today I'm going to talk to you about a variety of different things that hopefully will help you, especially in golf, but you can apply to other areas of your life too. Now, a little bit about me. First off, I don't have all this stuff on the board so I can toot my own horn and so you guys can think that I'm this like superstar. The whole reason I put all this on here is because I want you guys to trust what I'm saying. Point blank, whenever I was an athlete here, I did have some good accomplishments. I was Female Athlete of the Year my senior year. I was also the first female golfer from Missouri Western to go on to postseason. And the whole reason that I was able to do that was because I was able to use all these principles I'm going to share with you today, and I was able to utilize them for my benefit. Now, if you look at a lot of these things, the ones I have bold, which you may not be able to tell the difference, the ones that I have bold are like the big golf events, that kind of thing. If you look at a lot of those, you'll see 2012 and 2013 were my most successful years on the golf course. Now, the reason for that is because around my junior and senior year is when I learned all this information and I learned how to apply it. So what I'm trying to tell you right now is if you learn this and you really make an effort to apply it to your golf game, you will see results. So today we're going to talk about a variety of different things, but we're going to talk about how you can make better grades, how to set goals, how to visualize goals as well as attract results, and then ultimately how to become a better student and to become a better athlete. So before we get started though, and all of this stuff about how to help your future, I want to look back at the past of this program. We're going to go all the way back to my freshman year. If anyone recognizes, that's actually Natasha that works here too. She used to work for the MIAA, but yeah, that was my freshman year. I look about 6, so you guys can probably tell that. This was actually taken, this would have been spring of 2010 at conference. So we're going to jump back to my freshman year. Do any of you guys know what this is?
Racquetball court.
Okay, this is the Missouri Western racquetball court. Well, one of the, I think there's 4. Now, back in my freshman year, they were still working on the JISC. So this building that we're in right here did not exist. They were literally in construction my whole freshman year. I remember there were times when I was walking to Looney and there would be like a foot of snow on the ground and they had like cranes with people hoisted up working on the roof. I mean, it was insane. But none of this existed. So, this time of year, how we practiced was we used a racquetball court. We had all of these different stations going at once. So you can see that we had a hitting area, chipping area, workout area, and a rest area. Now keep in mind, we had like 9 or 10 girls on the team at this time. We were all on a racquetball court, all doing separate activities. So the hitting area was just like any kind of net that you guys may have at home or you've seen inside of a building, like a lot of golf clubs buy them, just one of those round circle nets that you hit full shots into. That's what we practiced with. Those same circular chipping nets that you guys use in practice, those are the same ones that we use. And then the workout area, we didn't really have strength and conditioning. We just had like a medicine ball workout. So you can see how this definitely made for a very interesting practice. We did this 3 days a week for like 2 hours. And again, 10 girls in one racquetball court. I'll let you guys, let your imaginations wander on how well we got along. So anyway, and also on top of that, while we have all these people hitting golf balls, we're also in a room that is pretty much like wooden walls. So one of those golf balls gets loose, it's like ping pong in there. Pinball, basically. It's going around everywhere. I can't tell you how many times I thought I was going to die in one of those racquetball courts because there was a ball like flying around. But the reason I'm telling you guys this is because you need to be appreciative of all of the accolades and all of the different resources that you guys have now. Because my freshman year, I would have killed for that. I would have killed to have somewhere that I could hit a ball and not worry about it flying through the wall and then hitting me back in the face. Or just the fact somewhere that I could practice almost any time that I wanted. You guys now have this. Okay, obviously that's a pretty big difference from the racquetball court to this. But one of the other differences that you guys have that I didn't have, you guys also have St. Joe Country Club. That was not something that I had. We practiced at Fairview Golf Course, and if any of you have played Fairview, I'm not trying to bash any course or anything, but you have to understand that the course that you're playing at Country Club and the course you're playing at Fairview are two totally different types of golf course. You guys are going to be playing on courses like Country Club in tournaments. So it is a huge advantage that you guys get to practice somewhere that's like how it is whenever you actually play. We didn't have this until I think it was the middle of my junior year, and coincidentally that's also when my golf game took a turn for the better, and I really think it was because this golf course is a lot harder, so I just learned a lot more playing there. Okay, so we've talked about facilities, we've talked about that kind of stuff, but let's look at scores. Okay, obviously golf, you want to have the lowest score possible, so we want this graph to be going down. You can see here, this is my freshman year. You can see where we started and then where you guys are now. Even though it hasn't been completely downhill the whole way, as a general rule, the entire graph is moving down. That is huge. If any of you know anything about statistics, you have to realize that this is a very small part of the graph. This is just since I've been in the program, especially you men. Your program's been around a lot longer than the women's program. So this, more than anything, should not only give you motivation, but it should give you some sort of perspective of where we have been and how much better we are getting and how much you guys are going to continue to get better, especially the girls. You went from having, well, I guess I should say we, because I played on that team, we went from having an average of like 337, I believe, around, and that's for 4 players, to now you guys are just under 320. I think it was like 318.2 or something. And that was last year. That doesn't even count the fall. That is so substantial. I cannot even explain it to you guys. This kind of growth does not show in most golf programs. Not in this period of time. So, you guys need to take this and realize that not only do you have a lot of resources at your disposal, but you guys are already headed in the right direction. You've got the hardest part already done. Okay, so we're going to switch gears a little bit. Now, a lot of you guys are probably already like, oh, we hear about how to make better grades all the time. Like, I don't want any more tips. I already know what I need to do. Well, let me just tell you right now, I have a very different point of view whenever it comes to making good grades. I think if you're going to work hard on the golf course, you might as well work hard in the classroom too. Let me give you a little bit of a backstory. My undergrad, I got in sport and recreation management with concentration in sport. To give you an idea, my entire college career, I thought I was going to play professional golf after I graduated. Graduated with my undergrad degree in 4 years and decided I wasn't quite ready to play professional golf, so I decided to go to grad school here at Missouri Western. That's when I was a GA, started working with Coach Dillon, all of that. 2 years fly by, and I graduate again with my master's. With my undergrad, I think my GPA was like 3.74, and my master's I had a 4.0. I think those are pretty good grades. I'm trying to get into a PhD program right now, and let me just say a 3.74, I'm going to be fighting my way into a program, okay? Regardless if I was a student athlete, regardless of what I accomplished, regardless of what I want to study during my PhD, just the fact that I had a 3.74 is something that could limit me. So, you may think, oh, you've got it all figured out and you're going to be a professional golfer, or you're going to do this, and you're not going to need to make these grades. Well, let me tell you one, you got to stay eligible, so you need to make good grades. And number two, you have no idea what you're going to be doing when you grow up. The reason I chose not to pursue professional golf is I actually tried it for a few months and I didn't like living out of a suitcase. It's a lot different when you travel with all your best friends every week than when you're traveling by yourself. To me, it wasn't worth it. But why would I want to hate the game that brought me so much? So I decided to, first I sold insurance for a year, now I'm a college professor. The whole thing I want you guys to realize about that is you don't know where your future is going to take you, so do the best that you can now. And let me tell you also, it is a lot more fun to stay up late studying for a test than it is to go to a 9 to 5 that you hate every single day. Your GPA will be what decides what you do after you graduate. It's not just a piece of paper anymore. So, with that all said, here are some tips that I have for you guys that, again, everyone will use differently, but they're kind of out of the box. The first is determine your most productive time of day. Now, we all run on different internal schedules. A lot of us like to stay up late. Some of us like to go to bed early. Some of us are really hungry all day long. Some of us only eat one meal. Whatever it is, everybody has some sort of internal clock. Same thing goes for productivity and motivation. You need to find which time of day you are most motivated and you are most productive. Now, if that happens to be at 3 o'clock in the morning, so be it. At this point, we're already in the middle, well, not the middle of the semester, but semester's already started. So what I suggest, figure out your time of day, and no matter when it is, go ahead and base the rest of your day around that. After the semester, you guys can change your routine and do all that. But don't try to do it now, it's just going to hurt you. So, let's say your most productive time of day is at 11 p.m. 11 p.m. to 1 a.m., which, let's face it, most of us stay up that late anyway. So what you can do is, maybe you go to class all morning, you go to golf practice, you have a couple hours, take a nap in the afternoon so that by 9 o'clock or 11 o'clock you're ready to go, ready to get stuff done. Again, most people are not going to tell you this. Most people are going to say, you just need to get into a routine. Getting into a routine can take months of adjustment. So don't do that adjustment now. Do that during the summer when you're home, when you're not doing anything else. Find your most productive time of day and utilize it. Find a non-school and non-golf activity to participate every week. There have been a lot of studies that have shown that people that have other extracurricular activities that they are either engaging in with a group or have that are different, they show that they make better grades. The reason for that is not only does it give you something to look forward to, but it forces you to have time management. Some examples of this are join like a church group or a devotional group. Just meet with your friends at the same time every week, maybe at a coffee shop. Or it doesn't even have to be that structured. Maybe you just want to do crafts in your dorm room. I don't care, but find something that's not academic and it's not golf. And I promise you, if you work towards that and you use that as some sort of reward, that will benefit you and it'll help you make better grades because you can use that to relieve stress that you may have. You already have stress from golf and you already have stress from grades. So find something that you can do to relieve that stress and make time for it. Next is create a vision board. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit more detail here in a little bit. But basically, you need to know what your goals are and you need to have them visible where you can see them. Now, this applies to every aspect of life, but especially your grades. Print out your schedule and just write a grade next to it. This whole entire thing is just conditioning. If you already know you're going to make an A at the end of the semester, you're automatically going to do all the work to achieve that. Sound crazy, but trust me, this works. Be organized and utilize lists. Okay, if any of you know me well, you know I'm like the most OCD person. Like right now it's driving me nuts that those are all ones. Like it's absolutely driving me crazy. You know that I'm like overly organized, like it's a fault to me. However, I understand that that's my personality. Some of you guys may not be like that. Some people are very organized, some people aren't. Just the same way that people are visual learners and some people are audio learners. However, find a way to make a list of things you have to get done and to get organized. Studies have also shown that you have a subconscious internal motivation of crossing things off a list. When you cross something off, it basically just feeds your brain that you are getting things done and it releases endorphins. Again, sounds crazy, but it actually works. And then last is look at the big picture. Okay, so I know how stressful it can get, especially during finals and when you've got a bunch of tournaments coming up and you want to play well, but you need to make good grades. Think of it big picture, okay? This is one day. Let's get done today what we need to get done just today. Tomorrow will take care of itself. Next week will take care of itself. Your chipping, you'll figure it out in practice. Your putting, there's no reason to stress about it. Your grades, do what you need to do today and get it done. Also, think about the fact that 4 years is going to fly by. When I think back to my freshman year, I can't even imagine that it's already been like 8 years now. Just realize that. If you have to stay up late and study, it's one night of your life that you're staying up late. If you have to sacrifice hanging out with friends, that's one time that you're not hanging out with your friends. Look at the big picture. Okay, so again, now we're going to shift gears and we're going to talk about setting goals and visualizing your results. Now, all of you guys are athletes. All of you have heard all of this stuff before about how to set goals and all of that. But today I want to explain to you the difference between setting goals and visualizing goals. Again, this information isn't just golf related. This can be used for academics, this can be used for relationships, it can be used for spirituality, it can be used for any facet of your life, even like weight loss, anything. So when you are setting your goals, you are determining what it is that you want, how you want to do it, and why you want to do it. Let me give you a little bit of a backstory. My senior year, so this would have been fall of 2012, I walked into Missouri Western for that fall season and I told myself, I'm going to be Female Athlete of the Year and I'm going to be selected to go to regionals. Now, the whole reason why I set those goals was because I had been working all summer long. And I knew if I continued to work hard, I would reach those goals. However, I didn't exactly know how I was going to do it. I didn't know what scores specifically I was going to have to shoot. I just knew that if I worked hard and I outworked every person in my region, there was no way I was going to be left out. So I knew my how was I was going to be outworking everybody. And then the why. Now the why can get as complicated or as simple as you want it to be. For me, it was pretty simple. I wanted to achieve those two things because no one had ever been to regionals before on the women's team. I wanted to be Female Athlete of the Year because I felt like I was constantly being overshadowed by other sports. You guys ever feel like that? Golf is like that, and that's nothing against any of the other sports. That's just the nature of golf. You guys are a small team. Happens in college, happens in high school, happens in the PGA versus the NBA, okay? So I wanted to prove how hard I've been working. And then lastly, I had so many people tell me I couldn't do it. People back home, people here, some of my family. So part of my why was I'm going to show them all wrong. So I set those two goals. I had other goals as well, but those were my main two. Do that for yourself. Figure out what it is that you want to accomplish. Figure out how you're going to do it and why you want to do it. Don't just set the goal. If you know why you're doing it, it will put so much more value to it. So once you figure out what it is you want to accomplish, you need to learn how to visualize yourself accomplishing those goals. If any of you know anything about visualization, or if any of you I coached, I know I constantly was harping on you guys, especially with putting, to visualize it going over the edge of the hole. That is a big thing for me. Golf, visuals are everything. You've probably heard every coach in the world say, visualize your shot, visualize the line. Same thing goes for achieving goals, okay? But the thing is, visualization isn't just getting a picture in your mind. It goes so much deeper than that. So whenever I was trying to visualize my goals of being female athlete of the year and being selected to regionals, I was not only thinking about doing those things, but I was thinking about how it felt to hold that plaque that they handed me whenever I got the award. How it felt to stand on the podium and give my acceptance speech. Whenever I was thinking about regionals, I was thinking about how the fresh cut grass would smell. How there would be dew on my shoes, because it would be in May. Again, I probably sound cuckoo bananas right now telling you guys to think about all this stuff, but this will be the difference between being average and being the best you can be. You need to also adopt an attitude of positive thinking. Now, you guys have all heard that too, but positive thinking isn't just like, oh, I'm going to do great today and having this like surface level thought. No, you need to have blind faith and understand that no matter what happens, you are going to do what you need to do. Now, have any of you guys ever heard of the law of attraction? Any of you? Okay, it's a concept that can get very complicated. It's very scientific even, and it's a little out there. But let me just tell you, essentially the law of attraction means if you put out good vibrations into the universe, they will be returned to you. Now again, I probably sound like a hippie or like a crazy person. But the whole thing is, if you're putting positivity out there, the positivity will be returned to you. Think about a day where you maybe just woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and then everything bad just kept happening. You know, maybe you woke up late, and then next thing you know, you can't find your keys, and then once you finally get where you're supposed to go, you forgot your assignment. It's just like one thing snowballs on top of the other. The law of attraction basically says that you can avoid those situations by just being positive and having that blind faith. Law of attraction is a fancy way of saying you are grateful and you are positive that you are going to receive something before you get it. Now, you hear this all the time with all different aspects. You think about people that have been single for forever and want to get married. People say, oh, your husband's out there. He's waiting for you. Yeah, you may not be able to physically see him, but maybe you truly believe that. If you're spiritual at all, it's a concept of faith. You don't know with 100% certainty what's in the future, but you know that it's going to be returned to you. I'm not saying you guys have to believe the law of attraction and all of that, but I'm saying at least look into it. See what it can do for your golf game. A lot of the stuff we're going to continue talking about is on that same kind of playing field. Now, vision boards. I talked about that a couple minutes ago. Essentially, a vision board is your goals displayed however you can resonate with them. This is from my sophomore year of college. I had a really good freshman season, and then I had the stereotypical sophomore slump. I played horrible my sophomore year. I could not get out of my own head. And one day, my coach actually told me, she was like, you just need to think to yourself, I am a damn good golfer. And for whatever reason, that really resonated with me. So I got this giant piece of poster board, and I wrote that on there. And all of these little things that you can see here are affirmations. Every day I wrote something positive about my golf game. It could be something somebody told me, like for instance my high school coach, I remember I had texted him and he had said, I stopped doubting you a long time ago. Well, that was pretty positive, so I put that on there. Anytime that I had maybe a shot that I hit that felt particularly good or that I thought that I carried out well, I wrote it on here. Don't be afraid if people think you're a crazy person, because my sophomore year when I started doing this, all of my friends were like, you are nuts. You need to go to a mental hospital because no normal people do this stuff. Then my senior year as female athlete of the year, and I was the only person in Missouri Western history on the female side to go to regionals. Every single mouth that doubted me shut up after that. I talked about visualizing your goals. One of the things that I visualized when it came to being Female Athlete of the Year is, like I said, I visualized somebody handing me that plaque, what it would feel like, what the wood would look like, how the glass would feel. I visualized this exact same picture. I visualized me giving my speech and then walking off stage and people congratulating me and taking pictures with my family. So I took the exact same picture I had been visualizing the whole time. You can do these visualization practices at any time. My favorite one that I did whenever I was thinking about regionals, I would go through an entire round in my head. I'd picture every single shot I was going to hit. And I would do that when I would run on the treadmill. It makes it go by a lot faster, but it also helps you plan for your round. But like I said, I visualized this shot, so then I decided to take it after I actually got the award. This is my current vision board. Now, obviously it's going to be a little bit different than what you guys have, only because I'm no longer a student athlete. But the main thing that you want to focus on when you are creating a vision board is all of the images need to mean something to you. You don't have to organize it any particular way. You just need to make sure everything is important to you. So I kind of have mine set up in categories. I've got some athletic stuff up at the left-hand corner. Right here I've got some stuff about getting my PhD. I've got stuff about relationships, spirituality. One of my students that I was subbing for yesterday, that Taylor Swift picture, she actually made it for me yesterday and it just made me really happy, so I put it on there. Not everything on here is necessarily a goal, but it is something that I resonate with, something that is positive to me. Every night before I go to bed, the last thing I do is I go in my office and I look at that entire board and I remind myself of what it is I want to accomplish. Now, when I was in college, I just had a bulletin board that I cut out pictures of in magazines of Paula Creamer and Michelle Wie and Stacey Lewis and all these people I looked up to, and I just looked at it every day. I also wrote out every single goal and I put it on there. Do it however you want to, just make sure it means something to you. Now, some of you guys may be thinking, okay, she's done with college, she's done with college golf, what goals could she possibly have? Well, one of my biggest goals is I want to win the Missouri Amateur, and I want to win the Missouri Mid-Am. So what did I do? I made 2 fake news articles. Now, as you can tell, the video cut off in the middle of my presentation. I don't know what happened, but I was pretty much done with the actual presentation. The last point that I made, however, was just that you want to create some type of vision that makes you just want to jump out of bed in the morning. So there's nothing better than having a life that you are so excited about that you can't go to sleep because you can't wait to start the next day. And so my entire goal for this whole presentation was not only to motivate and to teach the skills on how to set and visualize goals, however, I wanted to provide an extra resource that anybody can use to help them to learn those skills. One thing that did get cut off of the video, though, that I felt like was really important information is I shared a couple different books with the group, and books that I feel like have helped me dramatically whenever it comes to my mental game or just life in general. So I thought I would go ahead and talk about them really briefly here. That way anybody that may just be watching this on the side, that way they are not left out of that information. So the first book that I have here is my Bible. I am a Christian. If you are a Christian, then you also know that the Bible is completely full of motivation and inspiration and just overall general life advice. So the first book that I always recommend to people is dive into scripture, look at different verses, try to get some information maybe about the situation you're going through or just some general life advice if you're trying to find motivation and inspiration. The Holy Bible is a great place to start. I just have the English Standard Version. It's a student study Bible, but any Bible will work. But if you are not associated with any type of faith or that's not your thing, that's fine too. I just always mention that that's one of the books that I use as a resource. The next book that I use is Timothy Keller's The Meaning of Marriage. Now, I know that sounds kind of crazy to be mentioning a book about marriage when talking about motivation and inspiration, but you can read this book regardless if you're in a relationship or not, or even if you're thinking about marriage or not. This book has a lot of great life advice whenever it comes to personal development and becoming the best person that you can be. I really find that this book is very motivating, and there's a couple chapters that you can skip if you're not wanting the marriage advice. But I've read this book cover to cover multiple times, and it is a great resource to have, and I highly recommend it to anybody for any reason. The next book that I have is You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. I've listened to this on audiobook, I've read it, it's a pretty quick read. I will warn you, this is not a golf book, and obviously neither are the Bible or The Meaning of Marriage. But these are all books that are self-help books that will teach you all of these skills, but just in a different way, so not necessarily tailored towards sports. Now this book, I will warn you, does talk about meditation and some of those things, which they're not negative. I just didn't cover them in the presentation. But I love this book. It is a life-changing book. It's one of those that I recommend to people. I buy for people all the time. So if you just want general life advice, I definitely recommend this one. It's a great audiobook too. It's really entertaining for in the car. The next book that I have is, well, let me preface this by the next 3 books are all Dr. Bob Rotella books. He is a phenomenal sports psychologist. He is known for a lot of his golf books. The main one he's known for is Golf is Not a Game of Perfect. However, any of his books are just great. But these specific 3 ones that I'm going to mention are my favorite, and I'll tell you a little bit why. Now, the first one is Putting Out of Your Mind. Now, anybody, regardless if they feel like putting is a strength or a weakness in their game, will benefit from reading this book. I always tell people that when I was in college, putting was definitely not my strong suit, but this book got me from having anywhere from 30 to 35, I know it's bad, putts around to down to 25 to 30, which if you play golf, you know that that is like life-changing when it comes to your score. That can make all the difference. So this teaches you a lot about how to visualize your putting, how to have the positive mindset when you're standing over the ball. Highly, highly, highly recommend this one. The next one I have is Your 15th Club. Now, most golfers know that typically in a tournament you're limited to 14 clubs. And so this is kind of a play on words, saying that if you have a strong mental game and you are able to focus and you are able to have all of those skills ready to whip out at any time, it is like you are playing with a 15th club. You have an advantage over anybody else that you compete against. This book is really good because it'll teach you a lot of the general concepts about, you know, confidence, getting over the yips, perception, visualization. If you don't really know anything about those concepts, I recommend that you start with this book. Again, this is another life-changing book, and I recommend it for any golfer. And the last one that I'm mentioning is The Golfer's Mind. This is another, obviously, sports psychology book, but it talks a little bit about patience, and the thing that I really love about this book is each chapter provides some thoughts that you can play by. So it gives you a couple different key points that you can focus on maybe the next time that you're playing, or, you know, you can write them down for your next competitive round. And then if you've ever heard of Dr. Rotella's 10 Commandments, they actually come from this book. If you were at the meeting, that was the little handout that I gave each and every one of you. It has these 10 commandments. I'm not going to read through them on this video, but I highly recommend that you just Google Rotella's rules or Rotella's 10 commandments, and those are concepts that will benefit your golf game, but you can obviously use in every aspect of your life. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this this lecture and all of this information. I really want to help you in any way that I can. Please do not hesitate to contact me if you'd like me to make another video, or if you have questions or just want more information. I am Nat Bird Golfs just about anywhere. You can find me on Twitter or Instagram by that handle. As well as, a lot of you guys have my number. Don't hesitate to text or call me or whatever. I'd be more than happy to help. So, also leave any comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Other than that, I will see you guys all in my next video. Thanks. Bye.